Welcome back, everyone. Again, today's episode, we have another guest with us. And of course, we all know that as parents, we all have these challenges when it comes to getting our kids to not just eat, especially if they're picky eaters, but to eat healthy, nutritious food. And so that's what our guest is here today is going to talk about how she ended up developing her brand. Of course, she too was a mom and of course a busy exec and also an athlete. And so she had to come up with a way to not only get her daughter to eat, but also keep yourself, healthy and make healthy options. And not to get too much into it, because I'm going to have our guest, Miss Sezin Kutlu. Kutlu? Got that right?
You got it. Kutlu, yes.
Kutlu, introduce herself. So go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Of course. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Actually, I'm very, very excited because I have so much passion about this brand or the product. This is new to the United States, but it's not a new product. I grew up with it and eating it, throughout my life. I have healthy parents that I really benefited, or I find myself lucky to be able to eat good nutrition. This was the mix of the tahini and what we made molasses, tahini and molasses mix has been a very much every morning's ritual for us.
Okay.
And very guilt-free, good nutrition. And, because I grew up with it, the taste has been like so much accepted by me. And, I loved it. I craved for it.
Right.
So when I was in the United States raising my daughter, she's 6 years old right now. And every morning we're just going with this chocolate spreads and I'm putting that on a bread. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm a mom, right? How, it just hurts you. You want to give something good. And, and of course, during pandemic, we all realized how, good nutrition, healthy eating is affecting us.
Definitely.
So that was the, being at home, in a morning that, I'm like, I grew up with this, mix of the tahini and the molasses. So I should try to find something to give to her or replace this chocolate spread. And I couldn't find anything in the store.
Right.
So that's how, this whole day tahini started, not finding it any of the stores.
You created your own.
I'm like, I had to do this for everybody because, it's, it is really, just to create this tradition for our kids. When they start eating something good, they definitely get used to it. And then, it really helps a mom to feel guilt-free of giving good to the family. So, but that's just the family side. As an athlete, it's the same thing about the energies, right? I am training, and I'm like eating all these gels. I don't know if you're running and, those gels are so much sugar loaded. I don't know what else is inside. I'm like all the good work that I'm trying to do to benefit myself. I'm eating this, which is really taking me down. So that was the other purpose that I'm like, it has to be organic, good nutrition, gives the good sweetness and a little bit savory, good fats and good, fruits. So that's how I created the Datini.
Okay, that's awesome. And I have I have a jar here. I haven't tried it yet. I did open it, and I heard you say molasses because one of the things that I did smell right away was that molasses smell. So I know I checked the website and I saw the ingredient. I didn't savor through the rest of it yet, but that I recognize that molasses smell because I'm from the Caribbean, and so of course, yes, I'm from Jamaica. And so, of course, that molasses smell from that sugarcane stuff, I recognized it. So hearing you say the molasses, that for me is an ingredient that, of course, I recognize, natural, more natural type sweet stuff. Okay, sure. So that's awesome. And I see that your daughter and, your lifestyle was an inspiration for this. And reading over your website, I see, you have her there, chief taste tester. Tell us about how this has been for her. And of course, kids most of the time don't like all the healthy options. They don't feel it tastes the same way. So how has it been for your daughter, from day one? Was it something that she liked from day one or not?
So I find, all moms are the best mixologists ever, right? I'm sure this is nothing new to any of you that, there are so many soups that I made that I added in so many, I sneaked in many
Right.
things just for her, because yes, the kids can be very sensitive with their taste palettes. And it does take time for them to get used to something, but it is achievable, right?
Right.
So, and organic or healthy is sometimes, yeah, it's hard to convince them to eat, especially when the tahini is the name, like, it's very hard for a kid to eat.
Right.
So this was not that difficult though. It was, my daughter is very picky about a rice, cannot touch the meat, the meat there should not be sauce, very picky about how it should look.
Right. Okay, that's true. Because if it doesn't look, my daughter, I have a 9-year-old, and she'll go, "Mommy, I don't like the way it looks."
Yeah,
I'm like,
I don't like
tried
the way
it yet? No, but I just don't like the way it looks.
Right. So, and that's the reason I think the color of the date tahini, it's a little bit of this chocolatey color because of the dates, and then, a little bit more from the tahini. She loves the vanilla flavor, but of course I didn't give her 1 spoon. I went from like half of the chocolate spread and half of the date tahini on the crepes that she not mostly rolls. So first she tasted something different. She's like, "This is different." I'm like, I changed the brand that we use. It's not all, because they're already brand, loyal, right?
Right. Yes, they are.
Whatever tala, right? So, and it was just like 1 or 2, 3. And, it's really, I believe, moms, we talk now more than, just ask them to do it. I explain the benefits, how that's going to make her hair grow and make her, to get taller and stronger. And she really understood, and she does, eat it like spoonful right now. It doesn't have to be on a piece of toast.
Right. She just likes that taste of it and stuff. Yes, they'll grow to like that. And that comment you made about them being brand loyal is so true, because what happened, and it's more visual, not necessarily taste. And a prime example of that is my daughter, she likes the we do almond milk. So there are 2 brands that we buy. When one is not available, we get the other one. So we got one, and she bought it, and she was like, "Oh, it's 50% reduced thing." She's like, "It's not going to be the same. It's reduced." No problem. I picked it up, and of course, it's in the refrigerator. The other one is finished. So now she's making her cereal. So she poured it in, and she's like, "It's the reduced one." So I was like, "No problem. Go brush your teeth, and when you come back, I'll fix it up and stuff." Did not do a thing, just warmed the cereal, gave it to her. I watched her, she drank. She's like, "Okay, it's not too bad." At this point, she did not know that I didn't do anything. So when she was done, she's like, "Okay, this is good." I was like, "See, all you had to do was taste it." In her mind, because it's not the same for her, it's not going to taste good. So it's really that visual. They're brand loyal based on the visual, not necessarily based on the taste. So they don't give it a chance until, you got to trick. And like you said, as moms, we are like mixologists. We are mixing different things in so we can mask the taste so that they can actually try to get nutritious food. Okay, so I can understand that.
Yeah.
And at what point did you decide to, make it a business?
Of course. Well, it's COVID really made a lot of impact on most of us, right? The change in our life, and I've seen a lot of business closing down, and that was the fear of, I am raising my daughter, right? So providing her a secure living, which with the lifestyle that I always provided, it just made me to feel that I have to be in control of my destiny in a way, because business, or any business can close down, but this is something that at least I could control of. And it is, of course, women support women, and I definitely appreciate that. There should be more of us taking a lot of business decisions, because I believe that especially on March, me talking about this on a special month like this, we are so capable of many things. We just don't have the encouragement, or we don't have that,
the resources and the support.
Support, yes. And yes, definitely, it's not easy to start a new business, but we are all probably like me, thinking too much of like making it perfect, too much of calculations, and creating a fear. So yeah, I just closed my mind and, I said, I'm going to take a risk. Yes, it's going to be investment. Yes, it will take time, but
Right.
that's how everybody does business, right? It's not like having a product and like, boom, it starts selling right away. Um, as long as I trusted in the product itself, and I definitely passionate about like, it's a good nutrition,
Right.
all products of United States. So it's like, I
Right.
know what it is,
Right.
the certifications are there. And I started getting into the woman-owned business certification, which had been
Right.
a great support, learning about the business acumen. So
Right.
then I just rolled it out, yeah. And I'm so happy now. It's out there. It's just a matter of now getting more sales, but the, I'm confident it's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you, it smells really good. I can't wait to dig into it and taste it. And actually, I'm waiting to see how my daughter is actually gonna
Yes,
like it. But yes, you did touch on something about, yeah, it's hard. A lot of times we overthink stuff as women,
yes.
men, and you realize men don't overthink things. It's either they do it, and half the
They
time
just
they're
do
like
it.
overly. A lot of times they're like
Right.
overly confident when half the time they don't even have. And even for women, no matter how how educated or how much credentials we have, we still have that imposter syndrome
Sure.
way of thinking that we doubt ourselves. We think, especially as business owners, okay, is somebody going to buy this? Why would they want to buy from me and stuff like that? Okay.
Right.
So that's definitely a thing. And of course, the risk that goes along with it. Okay. All right. Awesome. So, as a mom myself, I know, being a mom is an amazing feeling. It's amazing. I have two daughters. One is a lot older, she is, teaches. And then I have the younger one who's 9, getting ready to go to 4th grade. Um, Being moms or being parents is an amazing thing, but how important it is for us to enjoy a work and passion outside of just being moms. I know you are an athlete also.
Mhm.
How important is that for us as moms to enjoy things outside of just our kids?
Yeah, it's balance. I think balancing the whole responsibilities and what we have to do every day is the key. And I'm just happy that we're setting great examples to our daughters,
Right,
right? Like as soon as they're around you, seeing, observing that you're working, and at the same time you're taking care of the house. You're at the
right,
same time you're taking care of yourself because you're
right,
active. You're doing in sports. So having that in my mind is like, I'm being a role model to my little one. It
right,
has been a great motivation. But when you said I'm an athlete, yes, I'm an athlete of a triathlete. I do 3 different disciplines. So I
right,
always, multitask and added more onto my shoulder, not
right.
just one, but many.
Yeah,
It was just like, being a mother, I feel like, we are so capable of managing so many tasks at the same time. I can definitely imagine so many of us like cooking and being on a call with probably a conference call and still be able to maybe fold something on the side
right,
and like prepare a lunch bag and getting out of the house, preparing
right.
all of their lunch bags and yourself being ready. I'm like, I am so amazed how capable we all are. And it's
Yes.
just you know, yes, of course, I have to unplug sometimes. Sundays, I try to give myself a day of like being with my daughter, being with the
Right.
family, and doing something with
Be
her.
present.
Yes, be present, or when she really needs help. But it's just the I am just observing that now lately, like having 2 jobs and still training and raising her. Um, I'm like, I might crash one day, but I'm still
Right,
healthy and doing it. I'm like, okay, that's great.
right. See, and I understand that. And this is why I asked that question because, as you're a mom, you're building a business. You are not just an athlete, but a triathlete,
Right.
right? And then you, of course, you do have a job. So we're doing so many. We have a career. We're career professionals. We're entrepreneurs. We're moms, and we all know that being a mom is a full-time job. I mean,
It is.
that should be a job by itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then being able to balance that, and I guess wanting to know how important it is as women and moms to do not just do work that we love without burning out, and also how do we give of ourselves to our kids or family and to our business while trying not to burn out? How do you go
Sure.
about doing that?
Yeah, I believe everybody needs a time to themselves, right? Many of us grew up in different cultures that motherhood has been expected
Right,
to give everything you have to your family, which
right,
I found out that if I am not training, if I'm not doing any activity to myself, like a
right,
running, or it can be a meditation, it can be a yoga, it can be anything that is just for your own self.
right,
Um, Even just sitting for for a couple of hours just to listen to your own mind,
right,
that really benefits the family, because I definitely believe that there's endless opportunities for us to produce and to do well for our family. But like being yourself, that's where I become a better mom. If I go
right,
out for running and take care of myself, and many great things come in my mind, but when
right.
I have my own time to myself, I
Mhm.
feel that is not taking anything away from my kid. It's more of like me listening to
Your me
myself to be
time.
a better
Yeah,
mom. Yeah, I
awesome.
definitely believe all of us need that time to ourselves. And
Right,
it's just sad that some cultures, it's expected like to give everything you have to your family. But
right,
we have to create that time, I guess, to make it happen.
right, definitely. Okay, so let's jump a little bit more into some business questions. So, as entrepreneurs and building a business, I know we have to develop kind of like of a wealth mindset if we're going to grow our business. And of course, building a business from scratch, it takes finances. How
Mhm.
much better has being an entrepreneur made you in terms of thinking, with more of a wealth mindset? How has that impacted you?
Well, it's any business, I guess. It needs investment. Financially, yes, there's this big numbers that we have in mind, but most of the biggest investment is your time, your
Right,
effort, your
right,
dreams, your hopes. So it's running a business is not a new thing for me. I had been doing finance before being an
right,
entrepreneur, or just creating something new. I just know that it's being realistic is the only way to make this
right.
happen.
Uh-huh.
Yes, of course, we all dream to be the that's going to be the hit. It's going to be like so replacing all of the other competition. It's steady but slowly, growing is just with the calculated risks of like to grow.
Hmm.
That's the only key. Unfortunately, I heard that there around 95% of the startups can, close out the business.
Right,
They cannot succeed. And I can definitely see, and I can provide a little of insight in here too. To be on that 5% of a
right.
successful business, I believe
Yes,
that a nice, good business plan, something that really is, sometimes we try to create something very new, like not to have anybody to create that before. Well,
right,
it's okay to have something best of out of anything else, right?
right,
Competition is still okay. But trust in the product is the main thing. When you know that you're creating something good, which will
right,
benefit for everybody, I
right,
really don't feel that there is a blockage on that kind of a model. It's just the
right.
time. So
Okay. And
we'll
when it comes
definitely yeah.
and especially I think service-based business can be a little bit more easier than product-based business because of course the financial input that needs to go into it, and of course as a product-based business you have to do packaging, you have to deal
Right.
with having production and all that stuff. How did you get started? I mean, what was your first big order and how were you able to handle that?
Oh, thank you. Well, it's so I went through so many different models in my mind, making that myself in my commercial kitchen, or should I use packer to help me out with the whole production. So with the number that I had in my mind about the scale or where I wanted to be,
Right,
um, I choose the model that will have me more time to focus on developing the business and to get more sales and marketing.
right,
So if you focus on more of the manufacturing, that might be taking your time away to expand your business. But
right,
I found the partners where they can help me to do the production with my formula, and so I
right,
can focus on the channels that I should be getting in. Yes, after a great show from the Specialty Food Association, in Las Vegas, we had the first show for me, and
Right.
I was overwhelmed with the inquiries and the leads, where that's the risk, because it's a new business and I am by myself. It's a
You got to
one-man
figure it all
show.
out.
Yes, and the number of the quantities that they require, and the payment terms, that is, of course, you feel like, okay, well, am I going to be able to succeed this? But
Right.
it's just finding the right partners to support. I think it's just leading the company and any model, having good delegation of who focuses on where,
Right.
and just to make it happen. So yes, we started like November 15th of last year. It hasn't been even 6 months or
Okay.
yet,
So
but
you're very new.
very new. However, I am just rolling in, and now we are talking about being in the storefront and in the shelves, and the number of production that I am distributing already is nationwide.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's just
Awesome.
and it's chasing itself. Again, I really trusted in the product, and it's very simple. It's not a complicated product. It's just
Right.
trying to explain why it's good for everybody.
Right.
Because my challenge had been, I'm not producing a nut butter. It's a sweet and savory spread, which is very nutritious, because
Right.
sesame tahini is very well known in many cultures, because it has good calcium,
Right.
omega-3, and vitamin E's. But we only know tahini here just to use as like a hummus ingredient. We don't even think that it can be something we can eat a lot,
Right.
right? So I'm trying to do more of the marketing and educational side, but yeah, not to leave anything on the side. I have some friends who are supporting me, or coworkers,
Right.
to focus on the marketing side, on the sales and the distribution side.
Okay, to help make that so you can focus on the thing that you need to be doing. And that's awesome. I mean, and that speaks to support. I mean, in anything
Yes,
that you do, you need that support. We talked about as moms, as parents, needing that support. And then of course in business, you need that support because we can't build anything, by ourselves. Okay, that's
right.
awesome. And so with that said, what is like the how should I say, so you're 6 months in, what is your future goal for the business in terms, I know right now you sell directly from the website, and
Mhm.
you mentioned of course looking to get into stores and stuff. What are some of those location that you that dream location that you looking to maybe
Yeah,
be in?
sure.
Because everyone has that dream location that we want to see our products on the shelf.
Right. So I wanted to do first through our own website on purpose, because I wanted to collect the emails. I want to be able to send them a thank you card myself.
Right.
It was manageable when the number was within the hundreds, but now within the 6 months it just expanded over me, that I can handwrite everybody to thank you card.
Right.
But it was a great experience. So of course now, we're going to be in Amazon, and it will be, depending on where I can expand the distribution.
Uh-huh.
We're working on many distributors to have the product on, boutique specialty food stores that are
Right.
selling organic. I'm definitely looking for stores that are supporting women-owned business.
Mhm.
That is really, I really feel that having more women to take risk of produce something
Right.
is needs the support, right? And I do take advantage of that. I do appreciate that kind of a partnership. So definitely, I mean, the goal for this product is to be in every store in United States, at
Right.
everybody's house. The reason behind it is really the benefits of the good nutrition. It's not really like a snack. It's something that I believe that helps with the kids when they're studying, because again, the tahini has this many studies showing like the
Right.
benefits on the brain functions.
Right.
I was using them when I was breastfeeding. It has a good way of like producing milk. It's just so many great benefits that I wanted to highlight and make sure that everybody is benefiting out of it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and I know you touched on, of course, thinking that more women should support, but what advice you have to share for others who are who are thinking about launching something, but then the fear overcomes them. Taking that leap keeps them back. That
Sure.
fear. As someone who just 6 months ago launched a brand, launched a business, and now it's to the point where it's growing beyond, it's outgrowing you to the point you're
Yes.
now having to, before you thought you were ready to build a team and build a network. What do you have to say for those who may be, afraid to pull that trigger because they feel like they may not succeed?
Sure. Well, I actually gratefully thank to my mom for that, because we all support each other, right? You just
Right.
mentioned. We all have brilliant ideas. I can definitely see that. It's just somebody has to say, oh, you can do it. Just go for it. What is the biggest loss that can happen, right?
Right.
And starting a new business, again, you start with small, right? Nobody puts $1 million to an investment.
Right.
You start with like, let's say 50,000, right? The worst case, you're just going to lose a 50K, right?
Right.
And if there's a good support and understanding how it's going to work, you really can come up with a good plan to
Right.
start something new that you're passionate of. And when there's enough love and passion, I believe that's gonna, America has a big consumer market. We
Right.
love to shop. We like to try things.
Right.
And I never thought, something that I really like will also be capable of other people to be able to enjoy it. So
Right.
sharing with what you like is really finding the people that really enjoy the same taste or look in, clothing, whatever you want to produce. Is really motivating, and then you want to do more. You want to bring more of the other varieties of the same product.
Right.
It's really the support and encouragement, I think, but it all starts within, right? You have to trust your own self. I have to be very honest. Like there are times we think like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Because it's I mean, there are days that you're like, okay, well, I'm growing now. It's just like, it's gonna, because it's kind of like, when you earn money, you expand your spendings, right? You get a bit bigger house, you earn more, you get a bigger house. So you always chase
You're still
something.
exactly.
It never ends.
It never stops, right? So you think, and then it's like I never have enough because
Right.
it goes up, but then the expenses become more. Okay, I get it. Okay, so vulnerability is hard, right? And especially as entrepreneurs, how should I say, vulnerability is hard, but trying to be successful without it is harder, right? Can you share a failure and how you've handled it
Of course, yeah.
as you build your business,
yeah.
and even career-wise?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's every day, it's a learning, right? I didn't take it as a failure. I took it as like a learning point, because of course, when you start a new business, this food industry is a new monster, right? It's very different. And what happened is, like, with my production, a flavor that we wanted to use, it wasn't the same flavor that I approved as like the spice, because we use organic cinnamon. The time of the cinnamon was collected or used wasn't really the taste that I wanted to have. So when we do the whole manufacturing, I do of course get a sample of the whole thing to taste myself. So I had the original and I had my cinnamon, and I was so excited because the cinnamon taste was going to be very good. And I opened it and I didn't get the same taste of the cinnamon. And I had like thousands of jars already produced. I'm like, oh my God, they either forgot putting the cinnamon that I got, or like what happened.
Right.
And having that thousands of jars, right? It's like, okay, Sezin, before a production, you have to taste everything.
Right.
Before saying, okay, go for it. Right. I do trust on the partnership and stuff, but I only know the business myself more than anybody else, or I only know what I want to produce than anybody can assume. So what happened? I had to pull it all off because I didn't want a new company with a product, even though it was good. It wasn't what I wanted to produce.
What you wanted, right?
Yeah, I just didn't want that name or the product to be, a kind of a question mark somebody's mind. Well, this is not really. So I have thousands of jars available right now.
Do something with them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so my next question is, okay, so we also hear no's as entrepreneurs. No's, like, as parents, we hear a lot of no's, as our kids grow up, no, 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 no. But as entrepreneurs, we hear a lot of no's. Tell us about a significant time when, that no unexpectedly was an unexpected opportunity that rejection yielded in your life.
Yeah. The biggest one is like the capital growth, right? It's because it's a new company and there is no history. Sorry, somebody said hello to you.
That's absolutely fine. I'm over here thinking, I hope my daughter don't, because when she's playing the games, sometimes she'll forget that mommy is handling business and she starts making her noise.
Yeah.
Right. So as moms, as parents, especially now in the pandemic, it's expected.
Everything is acceptable. Yes, correct. So the capital growth for a new company is the hardest part because you don't have a history and you need capital to be able to start something. It's just like all your personal history is the only way that you can get some funds. It was one point that like I either would get an investor to help me out to grow, or I will take that risk myself to do everything by myself.
Right.
So and I made a decision of just going by myself because it's we were still open for the investment, but it's just I, as a startup, to start this ball rolling, I want to be the only person to make the decision versus them getting feedback. So that was my only part that I hesitated, which direction to go, because sometimes you will think that having partners, multiple partners, can be a direction to get different ideas. I choose to have me and my daughter to be on the front as the brand face, just to connect from my family to your family.
That family feel, and that's what I get when I go to the website. Of course, seeing your daughter there, of course, Biden, it gives you that family welcome in, that that inviting feel when you go to the website. You see regular breakfast food, so you're seeing things that you naturally you right away you see where it fits in. We're already doing it, so it's like, okay, now we have a healthy option.
Yes, and it's really opening up what we eat every day, and from what I have learned in my life, and sharing that with trusting that because of the healthy parents that I have, and that really goes with like a good healthy nutrition that we consumed. I'm concerned about our the options that we are finding in the stores here. I'm glad now we're turning into more of the healthier food
more
consumption.
healthier options. Yes.
Yeah, but for the kids, we have to do something to get them into this.
Get them to eat more, more healthy stuff, less of the unhealthy sweets and stuff like that. Okay, so confidence is central to foundation of success. Success without confidence is kind of like, it's kind of hard to put them, have them two separate, but you do need that confidence in order to succeed. It's core to leading a team. It's core to attracting clients. It's core to attracting opportunities. For some, it comes naturally. For others, more so a learned thing. Where do you get your confidence to keep your resolve, especially as a parent, having also a job, building a business, the day-to-day operation? How do you get your confidence to continue to, as you build a company and grow a family and grow a career, and of course, all the other stuff that you have to do?
Of course, yeah. Well, I accepted myself, right? I believe that, you don't need anybody's approval about who you are, right? When you know about your own capabilities, your abilities, your responsibilities, and what you want to achieve, it really happens. Just, I can't probably do everything well. There will be mistakes. There will be like, I shouldn't say that, I shouldn't do that. But I'm very natural. Like, I am very open book. I can share everything about my business, my life, my family, my daughter. So I trust in people will have good intentions. So it's just, for me to have that confidence is just like being very open of me. And it's intimidating sometimes being in a bigger crowd, when you have the hesitations in your mind that comparing about everybody's abilities. But everybody started from somewhere, right? Everybody, I find myself sometimes talking so much because I want to share so much that I know about my business. For somebody more of, probably mature, they will understand, even though I said 2 words. But it's just the passion, it's, and I have been, I'm so happy that, I had received many great feedback. So that really helps me to be more of encouraged about like to do more and share more. But being shy on the corner never helps, right? It's just you just keep your everything your own self. But when you start sharing, well, think about this. I have, English is not my first language, and when I start talking, like probably 20 years ago, half of the words were right, and the rest were just like they didn't mean anything. So, not feeling myself, I'm like, either I'm going to survive and be able to communicate, or I will shut my mouth and not being able to communicate with anybody.
So it's a choice. It's like, okay, right, okay, and of course you chose to speak, right?
I talk all the time. Yes.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So as a mom, I see you're building a business with your daughter, teaching her entrepreneurship from early. Whether it's something that she chooses when she gets older, at least you're showing her, how she can create her own narrative. Same here. My younger daughter, of course, outside of my general business, I do have an online boutique that I'm building with her as a way to help inspire confidence in women and girls. And it's all about, through style. We have actually, it's named Fabulous and Fearless in real life. And there's a reason behind that, because we understand that being fabulous and fearless is not that we don't have fear. Mm-hmm. It's not that we don't go through stuff, but then choosing our own self-worth and choosing to push through anyway. What does fabulous and fearless mean to you? And how have you made the whole idea of pushing through regardless a personal part of your brand and also in parenting?
Oh, correct. Well, I can only relate that back to the sports, right? It's the when I was doing the racing for 12 hours, 16 hours, it's a long commitment. Training for that is a long commitment, and not really knowing if you're gonna achieve it or finish it or not. You're starting something. But it was in Chicago when I first was running for a marathon. That was the long distance for me back then, for 4 hours. And I had a big injury before the race. And I felt, like, you're so resilient, right? I trained so long, and I'm like, if I walk, I will still finish this because, I gave so much into it.
Right.
So that's the point. Like sometimes, it's a decision to not to push so much, right? I definitely try to listen to the others' feedback now. It was just me really believing my own thing. But now I understand that, there are so many brilliant people around us. Sometimes, the way that we are so passionate about might make them to feel they don't want to share their feedback because, they don't want to shut you down. But now I start to listen in more of everybody's feedback, even though with a food product like this, before I launched it, of course I love the taste because I grew up with it. But what if an American not familiar with like a tahini that much will be able to accept that? So I had a group of friends, a group of neighbors, I list as friends, my daughter's friends, any birthday party, and that's you're talking about like
your that's your own focus group, right?
My focus group, yes. I mean, talking about being shy or not, like everybody's enjoying, and I am trying to give them a taste of something. Hey, great conversation, but can you taste this?
Can you taste this?
Well, but that was the way to go, when, and this is the thing, like it's nothing personal, right? Me creating something doesn't mean that everybody who likes me has to like my product. It's business, and if people will give you feedback, that's great to get feedback. So I think opening it up more of like, if somebody tells you after an injury, don't run this, because you train so much, heal, and then run another race. Probably it's better to listen to that too. It's just I really go with like who I trust and their feedback and try to get some
In other words, be mindful of who you take advice from, but also be open to it so that way you'll be able to grow.
Sure, definitely. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And I know we talked about, your focus group, tasting and stuff. With the flavors, how many flavors of the tahini do you have? And are you planning on expanding the line beyond to other products?
Sure. Well, we have 3 right now. We have the original, which is the only simple tahini itself, and then the dates mixed. And then we have cinnamon datini and vanilla datini. Vanilla is my daughter's favorite. Cinnamon is mine. I like it with the coffee. Right. But it's just the original is still the delicious. It came out to be sweet and savory, but there are some more of feel of how about we do with the chili peppers, make it like a little bit more of like the spicy side, sweet and spicy. We also talked about adding more of like the maybe even the ginger taste. It can suit very well with it.
I think that would probably be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and very refreshing in a way too. So we will definitely expand the tahini flavors, and down the road, it's just now I'm so amazed how much everybody's cooking, right? Everybody had been baking.
Yeah, everyone's at home. We have no choice but to cook. So people are enjoying cooking now.
Right, more than before. I realized that I like really watching the videos of cooking, not necessarily me cooking it, but really.
Right. Not really, just more watching. It's funny because tonight is Wednesday, so me and my daughter, we watch what's that chef show? So Top Chef, one of those stuff. So
yes, yeah.
Every Wednesday. So tonight we have the finale. We gotta watch it. So I sit with my little one and we go through and we're like into it. But it's always great to watch other people cook. Being cooked for is good. Always cooking, yes. It's not
of
always
good all
the time.
It shouldn't be work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely. So also, I know you got the flavor, and with them using them, I know it can be spread on, and I'm of course showing the camera. They can be used on, of course, I know spread on like, maybe, breakfast foods and stuff like that. I know on the website, I saw images of fruits and stuff, so they can be used as a dip. Tell us how, pretty much how should I say, the variety of how we can use it.
Sure. I really enjoyed spoonful myself because, I will eat it like with my coffee. A lot of I have seen a piece of toasted bread from any kind of a bread that you can imagine, through the rice cakes or pretzels that you can dip into. So it goes very well with the carbs that you can implement. With the fruits, celery sticks, as a dip, or the bananas as a dip, it's fantastic. Oatmeals, when you make any oatmeal that you can add it into it.
You can actually put it on there. Okay.
Yeah, on your oatmeals, it's fantastic. Even I made like this salad dressing out of it. Sweet salad dressings, like if you mix it with a little bit balsamic vinegar and some olive oil and a spoonful of like the tahini, it goes very well when you put some cheese. Tahini goes well with the charcuterie plates. If it competes very well with the hard cheese, some goat cheese. It's really that's what I was going to explain. Like people are so much cooking right now. What I will eat is just like so simple on a toasted bread, very basic. But the way that I'm seeing right now how the recipes are created with the tahini, from baking, from carrot cakes that I have seen, some cookies and energy balls. They just added some nuts and some other dry fruits and made like energy balls out of it. It's really endless. So I could only imagine that, wherever you use a nut butter or a peanut butter, wherever you use like a jam or like something sweet, you can definitely use
it out for that. Okay. And do you offer, like on the website, is there like maybe ingredients and recipes and ways in which people can utilize it? Do you share that with your audience and stuff like that?
We are getting there. Yes. I am not a chef myself. In Napa, though, being in Napa, we have so many great chefs and they really create many great recipes it has been dating, has been on some brunch menus in some of the nice restaurants here. And it's very basically, just put it on a toasted bread. It's not really too complicated, but we will definitely share more recipes, what you can do with it. It's my idea is it like an alternative to peanut butter jelly, as a sandwich. But yeah, I would love to share your recipes when you cook with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. We're gonna see how how it turns out and stuff. We're gonna try right after this. We're gonna go ahead and try it, and I'm gonna have my little one try it and see how she likes it. Okay. And as mom, can you share with our audience what has motherhood taught you about owning your power?
What is it? I'm sorry again.
What has being a mother? What has motherhood taught you about owning your own power as as a woman?
Yeah, I never felt before that I was that capable of doing many things. It's just this is really the I really feel so powerful now. It's talking about the confidence. Raising a child, it just showed me that there's so many tasks. I thought I was busy before before having a child. I thought work is busy, but this is nothing, right? Raising a kid on the side, running the house, a business, like still being able to socialize with friends. I am admiring all women, how much we are taking on our shoulders, right?
Yes, and we do take a lot. Mm-hmm.
It's great to have a great support from our families, our partners and stuff. It's just I really feel that with the mind that we put in, is like our body, bringing a kid to the world, and then our way of attention to raise them. It's just it's really
amazing,
mind blowing to me. Yeah,
we're an amazing how do I innovation. And we are innovative. Yeah, it's like we have one. It's like almost like we have 10 hands because we can see. My people say, "How do you see that? Do you have eyes in the back of your head?
Right.
How do I know that you're doing something you should be doing while I'm cooking?" Like you said, we're talking on the phone. We're doing Zoom chats. We're doing the business plan. We're fulfilling whatever we need to do for work, and then keeping the house clean and doing laundry and everything. But yeah, as moms and as mothers, we do a lot. As women, we do a lot. And then of course, we have spouses, then we are also having to tend to the spouses and then finding the time for ourselves in the mix of it all. Okay, awesome. Before we close out, just a couple last questions. Share with our audience one career advice that you have received that was necessary and you think is priceless.
Sure. Well, it's actually I just discovered this very recently, again, and that's where we just tie into the our capabilities, right? We can definitely do so much, but sometimes knowing so much, it affects the way that the our work with the others. Just the example, so because we have so many great ideas, I feel sometimes, I'm so passionate about things that I like to share, and I don't want anybody around me to be shut down or feel that, it's just really affecting their capability of producing something. It is with the family too, because, our kids, like raising a daughter, like don't do it that way, because we know we can see what's going to happen. But I'm trying to learn now, and this is the advice, like, everybody will experience things and then learn with themselves. It is great to give a guidance, but sometimes we have to probably provide the feedback and step back to let them to make the decision. I didn't do that before. I was so like, persistent about like, well, this is what's going to happen. And then I said so, right? Knowing that the fact, I learned recently that, I'm not trying to make a point, it's not win or lose. It's about giving a guidance. And then after that, letting them to make the decision, because, they have to grow. And, that's including our family, our kids, to, our coworkers. Everybody has to experience the same thing that we had experienced.
Right, so that you can grow. This is what I call that. I call that parenting with autonomy. And that's how I tell people I raise my kids. they have boundary, they get autonomy to do stuff, but within a certain boundary, so that way they can grow and learn to be able to do things on their own. So of course, my daughters learn early to do certain things because I want you to learn to make decisions on your own. But I also give them that autonomy, give them the guidance, but give them the room to be able to. So I call that parenting with basically autonomy with boundaries.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's when we read about the psychology and everything, like everything ties back into your childhood, right?
Right.
What happened today is because that happened in the past in your childhood.
Right.
So when you read more, you try to avoid a lot of things or try to be more protective, but there are so many things that we cannot, like everybody will make a different decision about the facts. So just giving them the freedom will definitely help them to boost their empowerment as well.
Definitely. Okay. So what advice would you give your, let's say, your 18-year-old self?
We always say, like, if I will go back, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that, right? It's which never happens. But I feel there were a couple of years that I could gain more of what I am doing right now. I was always an entrepreneur in my mind, but I couldn't take the risk. I didn't want to do because I didn't want to take definitely a financial risk.
Right.
I wish I could, have more confidence, and I wish I could take more of, hey, what could go the worst? Like what is the biggest failure can it be?
Right.
And that has a lot of in the pride, like you just don't want anybody to feel that you failed. But right now I feel like I wouldn't really care about what everybody thinks. I will just still take a risk. And I think that's the whole thing. Life is a constantly learning every day something new. Like who would know with COVID, like so much that we learned about what is valuable, how to live life and what's happening. So I think I would really put a hat if I will be in 18 or a little younger. Almost. I will take more risks. It's just like I think fear is where it stops a lot of us. And we create the fear, like it's just because you don't know, like your assumptions, your own boundary to your own self. So I think I would be more brave.
It limits our potential, basically.
Yes.
I have this thing where I tell my clients, at the end of the day, whenever that fear comes up, and I tell myself that too, what it does, it tricks you into not pushing forward, and you don't want to live with regret. So it's like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to do it anyway.
Sure.
And just push through and get that done. And see, that's one of the things that I'm trying to teach my daughter also. Things are not always going to go our way, but what it is, you take the lesson in it and you learn, and then you move forward and figure out, okay, how can I do this a little differently next time? Life isn't just a big classroom. The only thing about it is that you do the test before you actually, learn the lesson. And that's the only thing about that. Okay. So 2 quick questions. A rapid fire. First thing comes to your mind, guilty pleasure.
Pleasure.
No, what's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought guilty or pleasure. I'm like, okay, I'm guilty sounds bad. I do eat the chocolate spread sometimes.
And what is like your power outfit?
I really like when I'm in my, jeans and t-shirt. I think I've been in suits a lot, working in executive, like jackets and the t-shirt. Yeah. When I'm in my jeans and t-shirt, I feel so powerful.
Yeah, because it's not the same. It's complete opposite. And favorite movie?
Holiday. I like Holiday a lot. Because she eats during like drinks, like being in the house. And I can definitely do that for a day,
Definitely.
Junk food.
Okay. So now tell us what's next for your brand. Tell us what's next for Sepoli and what's next for Tahini.
Well, so of course, first we're gonna grow within the United States, and that's my whole main idea of like I will have some road shows with like big stores. doing some demonstrations and, tasting in many different locations.
Right.
And I would love to meet anybody who is listening and just to say hello. I heard you were talking about your daughter a lot. So we will do a lot of, introducing of the benefits of the food.
Right.
And I will expand it to, my whole loyalty to the company is, or the country is like, I'm so proud that we created this as an American product. Yes,
right.
There are ancient backgrounds of this produced in different countries, but tahini is made in USA, and I had been supported by the government to export it, to introduce it as an American brand to Canada, to Mexico, and then go to Europe, and then go to many different areas. So I definitely want to focus on the exporting this tahini to different parts of the world, but slowly but surely, it's I just want to make sure that I create a company that can support many women first, and then many of the young entrepreneurs, or any ideas that are accepted, because it's I learned that I learned from my daughter, right? She's 6 years old, but the way that she gives me feedback makes me feel like, okay, well,
right. You learn so much from them. And sometimes don't you feel like they're like they're like your biggest, like my daughter, sometimes when we got to work on, picking products and doing stuff for the website and updating, I'm like, you are like a slave, I'll be like, you are worse than, you are such a tough boss.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you hire your daughter? Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm like, I would hire her, like,
right. Yeah.
I mean,
and her customer service, and how, and that's the thing, they develop these skills from so young, and it only helps to build their confidence. And you look at them and it's like, I can't wait to see what exceptional value-driven adults turn out to be.
Right. Yeah. And I am amazed with that too. Like, I think any business right now in America should provide younger, generation, because, the way that they're coming into this workforce is just like unbelievable. I'm talking about a 6-year-old, but, the way that they capture things and the way that they give feedback is, we were talking about our parents being old-fashioned because they're like on, social media, and I cannot keep up with my little one right now. Oh. So it's
it's the same here. I know exactly what you're talking about, and of course, we utilize the stuff, but they're so far advanced than we are. Okay, and where can our audience find you? Your website, your social, where can they find you?
Sure. So sepoli.com is the website, Sepoli, and that comes from my name, Sezin. A friend of mine put in, which was the P, and then my daughter's I decided with Li. And Sepoli also means like an outsider in a Greek town. So Sepoli.com is where I have all the information about myself, the company, and the products, and soon to be on Amazon.com. And then we will be expanding to the many food stores. I am trying to update as much as I can on the website about the stores that are buying from us, but I am very serious. It's just I had
so fast.
It is, and it's just like, then you're like, okay, well, what if in all United States, how am I going to put the whole map? Right. So we will be soon in any of the stores, probably close by, but until then, everybody should try it out through the website. And I love feedback. I will definitely love to get feedback about how we
get my daughter's feedback, and she likes to give feedback. So
good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, Sezin, thank you for pulling up a seat and sharing your story to help, our audience, talking about confidence, overcoming fear, and how to go about, pushing through and defining success on your own terms. I thank you again for deciding to come on and share with us. And I wish you all the best, you and your daughter. And, thanks again.
I appreciate your time. It has been a great conversation. Thank you so much, Nicole. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Bye.